My wife cheated on me with my best friend, stole $250, $0 from our joint account, and now she's trying to take our family home worth over $1 million. I feel completely betrayed and lost, and I don't know if I should fight in court or just walk away. Hello everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons, with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here writing this out, but here I am. It's like one of those bad movies where everything's going fine, and then suddenly, bam, your entire world collapses. The most unexpected moment. Finding out that my wife, Lisa, was cheating on me with my best friend, Mark. And not just a quick fling. This was months of lies, betrayals, and now, a fight over millions. Yeah, I said millions. Our house, worth over $1 million, and she's trying to take it all. I still can't believe how everything unraveled so fast. Lisa and I had been married for 8 years. We had a good life, nice house, decent jobs, 2 kids I loved more than anything. I thought we were solid. I was working late a lot, trying to build a future for my family, but I started noticing small things that didn't add up. She'd be unusually defensive when I brought up our joint accounts. She'd avoid my gaze, lie about where she was, or say she was running errands when I knew she was out with someone. I kept brushing it off, thinking I was paranoid or reading too much into it. But then I caught the first real sign. It was a Tuesday night. I had just come home from work and I noticed her phone was buzzing on the kitchen counter. I usually wouldn't look, but this time I was curious. The screen lit up with a message from someone named Jake. I didn't recognize the number, but the message was straightforward. Can't wait to see you tonight, missed you all day. The words hit me like a punch. My stomach sank. I looked closer and there were several texts, more than I'd ever seen before, flirty, intimate, and downright inappropriate. My heart started pounding. I wasn't ready for this. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I sat in my car outside our house trying to process what I just read. My mind raced. How long had this been going on? Was I blind? Did I miss all the signs? I was angry, hurt, and confused. The next morning, I decided I had to know the truth. I checked her phone again secretly and found more messages, plans to meet up, excuses about working late, and even a few explicit photos. That was the moment I knew. My wife, the woman I loved, had been cheating on me with my best friend, Mark. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. The betrayal was worse than I could have imagined. I thought about confronting her right then, but I knew what that would lead to: more lies, denial, and probably a fight I wasn't ready for. Instead, I started digging deeper. I needed proof, evidence, anything to confirm what I already suspected. Over the next few days, I hacked into her email, checked our bank accounts, and found some shocking things. It wasn't just the affair, it was the money. She stolen $250,000 from our joint account, just like that, gone. I couldn't believe it. That money was supposed to fund our kids' college, our retirement, maybe even a little vacation. Instead, she'd been funneling it into secret accounts, buying fancy clothes, expensive jewelry, and who knows what else. All behind my back. I was furious. How could she do this? How could she betray me, our family, everything we built? And Mark, my best friend, how could he do this to me? We'd been friends for over 10 years. I trusted him. And now all I could see was his face in my mind, smirking, knowing what he'd done. That night I finally confronted Lisa. I had the evidence laid out on my laptop. I told her I knew everything. Her face turned pale, then red, then she started crying, big, fake crocodile tears. She said she was sorry, that she loved me, that it was a mistake, that she was lonely, and that things just happened. She claimed Mark was just a bad influence, that she never meant to hurt me, that she was trying to figure things out. But I wasn't buying any of it. I could see right through her lies. She's always been a bitchy, manipulative woman, and now I saw her for what she really was, a liar and a thief. The emotional blow hit me hard. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and completely lost. I had no idea how to even start dealing with this. I loved her, I still do, but everything had changed. I kept asking myself, what's next? Do I fight for my family? Do I walk away? Do I try to fix this mess? The pain was so raw I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. I just knew I couldn't trust her, and I sure as hell couldn't trust Mark. My mind kept circling back to that money, what she'd done, what she might do next, and whether I could even hold on to what's left. That's where I am now, sitting here trying to piece everything together, wondering if I should go to court or just walk away and forget it all. I never thought I'd be in this situation, but here I am, staring at a future that looks completely different from what I imagined. My gut tells me I need to fight, but I also feel exhausted, drained, like I've lost a part of myself. Still, I can't let her get away with it, not without a fight. After I confronted Lisa that night, everything changed. She sat there, tears streaming down her face, pretending to be the victim, the innocent wife betrayed by her own husband. She kept saying she was sorry, that she loved me, that it was all a mistake. But I wasn't buying it. Not anymore. I saw her for what she truly was, selfish, manipulative, and willing to lie her way out of anything. I could see the cracks in her story, the way she kept changing her excuses, and the way her eyes darted around like she was trying to find a way out. I told her I knew about the affair and the money. Her face twisted into a sneer, then she threw out some of her typical bullshit. How she was lonely, how Mark was just a bad influence, how she didn't mean to hurt anyone. She insisted they only kissed a few times, that it was just sex, and that she'd been confused. That's when I lost it. I told her I wasn't stupid. I had seen the messages, the bank transfers, the receipts. I knew she'd been lying from the start. Her denial only fueled my anger. From that moment, I knew I had to act fast. The money she stole, 250 was not just some petty cash. It was a huge chunk of our savings, meant for our kids' future, for our retirement, for our home. And now she was trying to take everything away from me. I couldn't let that happen. I started to consider my options. Should I go to the police? Should I hire a lawyer? Or should I just walk away, cut my losses, and start over? The thought of losing our house, the one I had worked so hard to pay off, was unbearable. But the betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd ever experienced. In the days that followed, I dug into every detail I could find. I hired a private investigator to confirm her whereabouts and her dealings with Mark. Turns out, she was meeting him at hotels, late at night, and even using some of the stolen money to fund their meetings. I found out that she'd opened secret accounts under fake names, funneling money away from me. She was planning to take the house, our family home, the place where our kids grew up, and she was doing it behind my back. I felt sick just thinking about it. Meanwhile, Lisa kept up her act. She threw tantrums, accused me of snooping, called me paranoid. She told me I was overreacting, that I was controlling, that I didn't understand her feelings. She said I was just jealous or insecure, but I knew her better than she thought. I saw through her lies. I knew she was trying to manipulate me again, make me doubt myself while she plotted her next move. I started collecting evidence, screenshots of bank statements, copies of emails, witness statements from people who saw her with Mark. I wanted to be prepared. I wasn't going to let her walk all over me. I was also talking to a lawyer, trying to understand what my rights were. From what I gathered, the fact that she'd stolen such a large amount of money and was planning to take the house could give me leverage in court. But I also knew this was going to be messy, emotionally draining, and expensive. One thing that surprised me was how bitchy she got when I confronted her about the money. And Mark, she called me paranoid, insecure, and accused me of ruining her life. She told me I was a terrible husband for suspecting her, and that she'd never forgive me for accusing her like this. She kept spinning her stories, trying to paint herself as the victim, as if I was the one cheating or stealing. I could see her desperation. She knew she was losing control, and she was fighting hard to hold onto what she could. I also learned that she'd been lying about her whereabouts. She claimed she was working late, going out with friends, but I had proof she was with Mark or at some of the hotels she'd rented using the stolen money. It was like peeling back layers of a lie, each one more disgusting than the last. I felt sick to my stomach. How could she do this? How could she betray everything we built together? I kept asking myself if I was crazy to even consider fighting for her, or if I should just cut my losses and move on. Despite everything, I knew I needed a plan. I didn't want her to take our house, our family, without a fight. But I also couldn't keep living like this, constantly suspicious, angry, betrayed. I had to decide whether I was going to go to court or if I was going to walk away, start over somewhere new. The thought of losing everything was terrifying, but so was staying in a marriage built on lies. I was stuck in limbo, feeling more lost than I ever had. That's where I am now. I've got the evidence, the lawyer, and a plan to protect what's mine, but the emotional toll is heavy. Every time I think about Lisa and Mark, I get a knot in my stomach. Every dollar she stole feels like a punch to the gut. And the worst part, I still love her. Or at least I did. Now I just feel numb, like I've lost the person I trusted most, and I don't even know who I am anymore. All I know is I won't let her take everything without a fight. Not without a battle. The days that followed were a whirlwind. I threw myself into gathering every piece of evidence I could find. I stayed up nights combing through bank statements, emails, and texts. I hired a private investigator to confirm her meetings with Mark, and what I uncovered was even worse than I'd imagined. She wasn't just cheating. She was actively planning to take the house, our family's home, away from me. She had opened secret accounts under fake names, funneling the stolen $250, $0 into different places, all designed to hide it from me. I remember sitting in my office, staring at the laptop screen, feeling like I was in some bad dream. I kept thinking about how Lisa had always been so bitchy when things didn't go her way. She was the kind of woman who always got her way, who threw tantrums if she didn't get what she wanted. And now I saw her for what she really was, an opportunist, a liar who would do anything to get her hands on money and power. She lied about her whereabouts, about her feelings, about her entire life. It was all a lie. Meanwhile, Mark kept playing the part of the charming, loyal best friend. But I knew better. I knew he was just as much a part of this mess as Lisa. I found messages from him, explicit ones, talking about their plans, their sex, how they could wait to be free of me. It made me sick. I had trusted these people and they'd betrayed me in the worst way possible. I kept asking myself how I could have been so blind, how I didn't see the signs earlier. I also started talking to a lawyer. It was clear I had a lot to fight for. The fact that Lisa had stolen $250,000 gave me leverage, but it also complicated things. She was trying to claim the house, our house, that I paid for, that I built my life around. She insisted she was entitled to it all, that I was just a controlling husband who didn't understand her. I knew she was just trying to manipulate the situation, to turn the tables on me. But I wasn't about to let her do that without a fight. My lawyer told me that I had a good chance of preventing her from taking the house if I could prove her financial misconduct and her plans to defraud me. But it wouldn't be easy. It would mean going to court, fighting her in front of a judge, and possibly spending months or even years in legal battles. I felt overwhelmed. I'd never been involved in anything like this before. I'd always been a straightforward guy, worked hard, paid my taxes, loved my family. And now I was starring at a legal war that threatened everything I'd built. Lisa's attitude only got worse during this time. She'd throw fits, call me paranoid, accuse me of trying to ruin her life. She'd tell anyone who would listen that I was the bad guy, that I was controlling and abusive. She spun her lies so convincingly that some of our friends even started doubting me. But I knew the truth. I knew she was just trying to cover her tracks, to make herself look innocent while she plotted her next move. One night, I caught her trying to transfer more money out of the accounts using a fake email address. I confronted her again, and her reaction was pure venom. She called me an insecure, jealous bastard, said I was ruining her life, and that I was just mad because she was finally happy with someone who truly loved her, Mark. That was the moment I realized she'd turned into someone I barely recognized. She wasn't the woman I married anymore. She was a manipulative, selfish bitch who only cared about herself. I also learned that she'd been lying about her working late hours. She'd been meeting Mark at hotels, sending messages from secret phones, and even using some of the stolen money to rent out these places. It was a sick, twisted game she was playing. She thought she could get away with everything, and for a while maybe she did. But I was done being fooled. I was tired of her lies, tired of her manipulations, tired of feeling like I was losing my mind. Every day I felt this heavy weight pressing down on me. The betrayal, the money, the house, everything was a mess. I'd never felt so angry and so helpless at the same time. I kept asking myself if I should just walk away, let her take everything, or fight for what's rightfully mine. Part of me wanted to just leave it all behind, start fresh somewhere new, where she couldn't hurt me anymore. But another part of me, the stubborn part, refused to give her the victory without a fight. I had a lot of sleepless nights, lying awake, replaying everything in my head. I kept thinking about the kids, what's best for them. Can I protect them from all this chaos? How do I explain to them that their mother betrayed their family? It was heartbreaking. I want to be a good father, but right now, I feel like I'm barely holding it together. I also started to realize that I couldn't do this alone. I needed support, friends, family, anyone who could help me see the truth. I reached out to my brother, who told me to stay strong, to fight for what's mine. He said I had every right to be angry and that Lisa's lies wouldn't hold up in court. That gave me some hope. Still, I knew I had a long road ahead and I couldn't afford to let my guard down. So I'm in this limbo trying to figure out my next move. Do I press charges? Do I fight her in court for custody and the house? Or do I just walk away, cut my losses, and try to rebuild my life from scratch? The pain is real, but I also know I have to stand up for myself. I can't let her get away with this. Not after everything. Not after the betrayal of my best friend, the theft, and her attempts to steal our home. I just wish I knew what the right choice was. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became that I couldn't just walk away from this mess. Even though the idea of losing everything, my house, my marriage, my reputation, scared the hell out of me, I knew I had to fight. Lisa had crossed every line she could, cheating, stealing, lying, trying to take our home. I wasn't going to let her get away with it without a fight. I started to get serious about my legal options, even if it meant dragging everything into court and exposing her for what she really was. I met with my lawyer again. We went through all the evidence I'd collected: bank statements, emails, texts, witness testimony. The lawyer told me that I had a solid case, especially because of the stolen money and her plans to transfer the house. She was trying to claim the house as her own, but I knew I could prove she'd been dishonest about her finances, about her whereabouts, and about her intentions. The key was to act quickly, before she could hide or transfer anything else. The first step was filing for an emergency injunction to freeze her access to the house and the accounts. I didn't want her to be able to sell or transfer anything until the court made a decision. I also prepared for a formal divorce, knowing that this wasn't just about money anymore. It was about my dignity, my future, and the safety of my kids. I had to protect them from her manipulations, and I had to make sure she didn't take everything I worked so hard for. Meanwhile, Lisa's attitude only grew more hostile. She was furious that I was fighting back. She called me controlling, paranoid, and accused me of ruining her life. She told anyone who would listen that I was a jealous husband who didn't understand her needs. She painted herself as the victim, as if I was the one cheating or stealing. But I knew better. I had the evidence and I was ready to show the court everything. I wanted her to face the truth. She was the one who betrayed our marriage, stole our money, and tried to steal our home. One night she had a meltdown. She screamed at me, called me every name in the book, and threatened to ruin me if I didn't back off. She said I was a terrible father, a terrible husband, and that I'd regret fighting her. I just looked at her, exhausted and disgusted. I knew she was trying to manipulate me, to make me doubt myself. But I also knew I couldn't let her intimidate me anymore. I had to stay strong for myself, for my kids. I started gathering more witnesses, friends, neighbors, anyone who saw Lisa with Mark or noticed her suspicious behavior. I also hired a forensic accountant to trace the stolen money and figure out exactly where it went. The more I uncovered, the more I realized how deep her lies went. She wasn't just a cheating wife. She was a criminal, trying to rob me of my assets and our family's future. That realization made me even more determined to fight. The emotional toll was brutal. Every day felt like a battle between anger, sadness, frustration, and a desperate hope that I could somehow come out on top. I kept asking myself if I was doing the right thing, if all this effort was worth it. But deep down, I knew I couldn't let her get away with destroying everything I cared about. I had to stand my ground no matter what. I also started thinking about the long-term consequences. If I won in court, I could keep the house and get back the stolen money. If I lost, I'd be left with nothing. No house, no money, and a shattered family. That's what kept me going. I couldn't let her win, not after everything. I owed it to myself, to my kids, and to the integrity of what little was left of our life together. I've been doing everything I can to prepare for the fight. I talk to my lawyer daily, gather new evidence, and try to stay emotionally balanced, though that's not easy. Lisa continues to spin her lies, but I see through her. I know she's desperate, cornered, and willing to do anything to keep her lies intact. But I'm done playing nice. I'm ready to take her to court, to fight for what's mine, and to make sure she can't keep hurting us anymore. Sometimes I wonder if it's even worth it. This whole thing has turned into a nightmare I can't wake up from, but I also know that giving up isn't an option. I have to stand tall, no matter how much it hurts. I have to do this for my kids, for myself, and for the truth. I don't know how it will all end, but I do know one thing. I won't let her destroy what's left of my life without a fight. The court date is approaching faster than I expected, and honestly, I feel like I'm barely holding myself together. Every morning I wake up with a knot in my stomach, knowing that this fight is about to get real. Lisa's still playing her games, calling me names, accusing me of trying to control her, claiming I'm the one ruining everything. She's trying to turn the legal battle into some kind of moral victory, but I see through her lies now more than ever. The truth is, she's the one who betrayed the vows, stole the money, and plotted to take our home from under me, and I've got the evidence to prove it. I've spent the last few weeks gathering every document I could find: bank statements, transfer receipts, emails, texts, witness testimonies. I even hired a forensic accountant to trace every dollar she took. The amount is staggering: 250, zero gone without my knowledge. That's a lot of money, enough to change everything. Our savings, our future, all drained away because she decided she wanted more than she was entitled to. I've also got proof she's been meeting Mark at hotels, exchanging secret messages, and planning her next move. It's all laid out, and I'm ready to present it in court. My lawyer told me I have a strong case to prevent her from taking the house. The house is in my name, paid off, and I can prove she's been dishonest about her finances. She's trying to claim she's entitled to half of everything because we're married, but I know that because she committed fraud, I can fight her for my rights. Still, this isn't just about money. It's about the emotional damage she's caused. I can't shake the feeling of betrayal. I never thought I'd be in this situation, fighting my own wife and best friend over our lives. Lisa's attitude has only gotten worse. She's been throwing tantrums, screaming at me, calling me names, even trying to guilt-trip the judge when she gets a chance. She's desperate. She's trying to manipulate everyone around her, making herself look innocent, when I know she's the mastermind behind this whole disaster. Her bitchy side is on full display, especially when she's losing control. She's accusing me of being paranoid and insecure, but I know the truth. I've seen her lies, her manipulations, her desperation to hold onto her stolen wealth and her affair. The night before the hearing, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything: her cheating, her stealing, her lies, the way she looked at me with those cold eyes when I accused her. I felt a mix of anger and heartbreak. How did we get here? How did the woman I loved turn into this selfish, manipulative person? I kept asking myself if I should even bother with the court battle. Maybe I should just walk away, leave her to her own devices, and start over somewhere else. But then I remembered the house, the home I built with my own sweat and tears. I can't let her take that from me without a fight. I also started to realize that this fight isn't just about money or property. It's about respect. Respect for myself, for my kids, and for the life I thought we had. I can't let her walk all over me, especially after everything she's done. I've been through so much, lying awake at night, crying in the shower, feeling like I've lost my mind. But I also feel a new sense of purpose. I'm not going to let her ruin my future. I've got plans, legal strategies, and a determination I didn't know I had. The hardest part is the emotional toll. I love my kids, and I worry about what all this chaos will do to them. I want to protect them from her manipulations, from her lies. but I also worry that the truth might hurt them, or that they'll blame me for fighting back. I keep reminding myself that I'm doing this for them, so they can have a stable, honest life. I want them to grow up in a home where truth and integrity matter. That's what keeps me going through the sleepless nights and endless court preparations. As I sit here writing this, I realize I've become a different man, more cautious, more guarded, but also more determined. I've learned that betrayal cuts deep and trust is fragile, but I've also learned that sometimes you have to fight for what's right even if it costs you everything. I don't know how this will end. I don't know if I'll win or lose, but I do know I won't back down. I owe it to myself, to my kids, and to the truth to see this through. Tomorrow's the day. I'll walk into that courtroom with everything I've got. And no matter what they decide, I'll never forget what I've been through, how I was betrayed, how I was lied to, and how I fought to keep what was mine. That's what this is really about, standing tall when everything else is falling apart. And I'll do whatever it takes to come out of this with my dignity intact. The court hearing was one of the most intense days of my life. I walked into that courtroom feeling like I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. All the evidence I had compiled, bank statements, emails, witness testimonies, forensic reports, was laid out before the judge. I could see Lisa sitting there, her face trying to look innocent, but her eyes betrayed her. She knew she was cornered, and her bitchy attitude was on full display. She kept trying to spin her lies, claiming she was the victim, that I was trying to control her, that she deserved half of everything because we were married. But I was ready. I presented my case with clarity and conviction. I explained how she'd stolen the money, how she'd been meeting Mark at hotels, how she'd opened secret accounts to hide her plans. I showed the court the proof that she'd been dishonest about her finances and her intentions to take our house. I explained how she'd betrayed my trust, how her manipulations had caused irreparable damage to our family. I could see her squirming in her seat, realizing her lies weren't going to hold up. The judge listened carefully, asking questions, reviewing the evidence, and hearing testimonies from witnesses. I felt a strange mixture of relief and anxiety. Relief that I was finally telling the truth, but anxiety about what the outcome would be. After what felt like hours, the judge finally made a ruling. She ordered the immediate freezing of all assets related to the house and the stolen funds. She also awarded temporary custody of the kids to me, citing Lisa's dishonesty and manipulative behavior. When I left the courtroom, I felt a surge of relief mixed with exhaustion. I had fought hard and I had won some battles, but I knew the war wasn't over yet. Lisa was furious. She screamed and cursed as she was escorted out, calling me every name in the book: controlling, paranoid, a terrible husband. She was still trying to play the victim, but I saw through her act. She was a liar, a thief, and a manipulator who was used to getting her way. Now she was facing the consequences. In the days that followed, the reality of the situation sank in. I had protected what was mine: our home, our future, my dignity. The court's ruling was just the beginning. I had to finalize the divorce, settle the financials, and make sure she couldn't do any more damage. I also had to rebuild my relationship with my kids, who were confused and scared but also resilient. I promised them I would do everything in my power to keep them safe and give them a good life. Lisa's attempts to manipulate and threaten me continued, but I was no longer willing to be a victim. I cut ties with her, hired security to watch over the house, and kept my distance. I focused on my work, my kids, and healing from the emotional scars. I realized that betrayal cuts deep, but it also teaches you who you really are. I learned to stand up for myself, to trust my instincts, and to value honesty above all else. Looking back, I see how much I've grown through this nightmare. I'm not the same man I was before, more cautious, more guarded, but also stronger. I've learned that sometimes the only way to survive betrayal is to fight back with everything you've got. I've learned that money can be lost, love can be broken, but your integrity and dignity are worth more than gold. And most importantly, I've learned that even in the darkest moments, there's a glimmer of hope, hope that justice will prevail and that you can rebuild what's been shattered. Now, I'm moving forward. The house is mine again, the stolen money is being recovered, and I'm starting to piece my life back together. It's not easy, and I still have days when I feel the sting of betrayal, but I know I'm stronger for having fought so hard. I hope others who find themselves in similar situations realize that they're not alone, and that standing up for themselves is the only way to truly move on. Trust is fragile and betrayal hurts, but it doesn't have to define your entire life. Sometimes, you just have to fight for what's right, and never let anyone take away your dignity.